Good morning. It's Driven AF Recovery. We had to miss a week, but we're back. We got Steven, Maddie, and our friend Josh. We're going to talk about being content but not satisfied, or as Ed Milet says, blissfully dissatisfied.
I love that saying.
I do too. We use that a lot in our groups, I know. So that's our topic for today. I'm gonna turn it over to Josh to let you know a little bit about who he is, and then we're gonna do our normal shit.
Hey, I'm Josh. I like to say that I'm an alcoholic, but I never tried a substance that I didn't like, so I'm an addict through and through. This is kind of my first time on the recovery road, first time through detox and rehab, and I want it to make it stick this time.
How long have you been clean?
I've been clean. I had 7 months yesterday.
Nice. Congratulations.
Awesome.
That's fucking awesome, bro.
And it hit me like when Maddie had asked me to do the video, it was coming up around my 6 month, right? And so I was thinking to myself throughout the week, like, yeah, dude, you just had your 6 month anniversary. I'm like, no, dude, like 7 months is like tomorrow. So like the perspective of time kind of gets jumbled. Like sometimes in recovery, you feel like you're not getting anywhere and time is just halting and it's slowing to a stop, and then sometimes it's like, holy shit, where did that whole month of November go?
I think that's kind of a good intro to what we were just talking about with like how you sometimes feel like you're not getting anywhere.
Yeah,
And what you were just telling me.
absolutely.
Tell us about what you were just telling me.
Yeah,
About you know how. So we talked about our topic being content without being satisfied, and before we started recording, I just asked Josh like, you know, where does that come from? How do you stay content but want more and not be satisfied?
So this kind of happened around my 6 month. I was feeling like I was letting myself down by not achieving all these million things that I had set in my plans for the future, like getting a license, a car, a house, and having this whole life done in a matter of a week or like a day. And that's just completely unrealistic, right? Like
Absolutely.
you can't achieve that much that quick. And taking into the perspective of we didn't do and get where we are now overnight either. So it's taking the time to realize what you have and be grateful for it, and that's where the contentness comes in, but not satisfied where you're at and always wanting more. So you want to achieve more and continue taking steps forward so you're not stagnant or, God forbid, taking a step back.
Yeah, I mean, I think too, I like what you said about like, you know, like you have your goals and your visions and your dreams for your future, and you know, maybe you're not there yet, and we all want to get there fucking overnight, and that's just not gonna happen, you know, but being able to look back and say, okay, I may not have accomplished everything, but I've accomplished some things, a lot of things, you know, and I've done a lot of things that I set out to do, and I'm working towards the bigger ones, man, and that's why I really like the Blissful Dissatisfaction saying with that. I was actually just listening to one of his episodes on the way here because it got me thinking. I haven't listened to his podcast in a couple weeks, so. But I think for me, like that's something that like I hope to never be satisfied. You know what I mean? Like I hope to always want more, and I feel like that's always going to be the case because I have a vision. You know what I mean? I have this idea of what I want my life to look like, much like what you were talking about. You know. But it's not gonna stop with like just a house. Like once I buy my first house, I want a better house. You know, once I'm set in my career and I have finances in order and a credit score, like it can always be better. You can always do more. You know what I mean? But I think I never really thought of it from the aspect of, you know, like I'm content because I know there's more to come, and I know I'm really only just getting started. You know, just under a couple years into trying to better my life. In the grand scheme of things, like you just mentioned, like I've been destroying my life for 20 years, so being, you know, almost 2 years in, you're really just getting started, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Wait, you mean addicts aren't patient?
That's
crazy.
That's crazy, right? So for me, like, I think the contentment comes from like that, and I never even thought about it in the perspective of what you mentioned is like, maybe it also comes from because like, even though I don't think about it or acknowledge it a lot, like I've accomplished quite a bit in the time that I've been at it, you know, probably probably more so than I thought I would. But kind of like you said, man, I know there's more, and I think it, and you mentioned being stagnant, like I think for me, like that was a huge thing the first couple times, because you said this is your first time. This was not my first time. There was many times, and I got to that point where I was working like a job that I felt like I was way overqualified for, or I felt like was just, just sucked. I hated it. I hated my life, and it's kind of like, if you don't have a vision and you don't have goals and you're not working towards something better, it's very easy to fall into that, you know what I mean, and lose sight of your vision and become stagnant, and then probably end up going backwards.
Or, end up in hopelessness. We're like, oh, I'm never gonna get there.
Yeah.
Right. That typically doesn't go well.
But
But, I mean, I think, like, you guys are both talking, like, I don't think the vision, it's ever evolving anyway. I mean, I'm only 4 years in, and I'm not where I wanna be. But, like, if you would've asked me fucking 4 years ago, 3 years ago even, maybe even 2, would I be where I'm at right now? I wouldn't. I don't even know that I would have had some of the shit I'm doing right now on my radar yet. Like, it's evolving. Like, you start realizing like what you can do or where you can get, or like maybe I can do more than I thought I fucking could. I'm not like completely useless, and it expands what you actually believe, or that like having gyms. Something I always thought would be cool, but I never in my life, even before I was on drugs, ever thought I could make some shit like that happen.
Well, I think that's why like the short-term goals are so important, you know what I mean? Because it kind of gives you that belief that like, okay, maybe I'm not like completely a lost cause, maybe I'm not like, because I had people tell me straight up in my addiction that like there was no hope, you know what I mean? Like this is, you're gonna end up in prison, you're gonna end up dying from an overdose, this and that. So it's hard to come out of rehab and have any kind of like self-worth or hope for a better life when your 20-year track record shows no indication of anything.
You've given yourself no proof to believe so,
yeah.
But that's why we talked about the group last night, like deciding who the fuck you want to be now, and working on that is so important, and not believing the shit that you've been in.
Yeah, changing the perspective of yourself is huge too, but then so you change your perspective of yourself and the way you think about yourself, and you set these little short-term goals, you know what I mean? Like even if they're maybe to the outside world, to the people close to you, they're like minuscule or they're not shit, but like to me they were a lot of shit, you know what I mean? Like most adult men have jobs, have bank accounts, have driver's licenses. I didn't have any of that shit. You know what I mean? Right. So to get those things was a big deal for me. And once I accomplished them, I was like, okay, well, I'm not much worse or much stupider or, less capable than anybody else. Like, I can do that. Like, maybe I can do this too.
You go back with, like, what Josh had brought up, like, you gotta keep in mind, like, the shit you have accomplished, and that is tough for me. And I know probably for all of us, but from the outside looking in, it's easy. Like when I look at you guys, I see what you've done, and it's like, oh, that's fucking incredible. Like I don't see myself that way typically, but I know a lot of other people probably look at me far differently than I do.
Oh, dude.
Because like you've accomplished a lot. You're fucking making progress. You fucking work at a rehab, helping people now. You've done so much shit, like in such a short time too. Like when I see it on the outside, I'm like, wow, that's fucking great. Yeah. That's incredible shit, man. Like
I don't know if that's human nature, if that's just like the kind of guys we are, because I look at myself and I'm like, yeah, I haven't done shit. Like, you know what I mean? And I look at you, and that's why you've always been kind of like a mentor for me, is I'm like, dude, this guy fucking kills it, he crushes it.
And I still feel like I haven't done shit.
Right, it's like it's
crazy to me to be able to think.
I mean, if you check yourself though in the reality, like sometimes I write it down because it's the only way it sinks in. I'm like, okay, this almost sounds like it's not even possible.
Right.
But I lived it, so I know.
No, that's actually a really good idea. Like some of the guys that I talk to, like I feel like it's important to keep like track record of it. And this idea kind of hit me when my sponsor, he had asked me, I had hit like either 2 months or my 3-month anniversary, and he was like, that's awesome, congratulations, that's, that, and the other. Are you proud of yourself? And it hit me like, holy shit, like I haven't taken the time to realize what I've done and to have pride in myself for all that I've done. And it may be minuscule in my eyes, but I feel like pride gets this negative connotation. And it's understandable. Like you
Yeah,
don't
if
want
you
to
go
be
too far with it. This is
prideful with
like
your-
confidence versus arrogance, you know? It's the
Yeah.
same kind of thing, I think.
But I feel like it's super important to take pride in everything that you do, as long as it's a positive thing.
Yeah.
You know, like not taking pride in cutting someone else down, but just anything and everything that you do that betters your life and pushes your recovery forward, you should take pride in. And so I started to make a list of just things that were like either big milestones or little milestones, and writing it down so that I can refer back to it and be like, when I'm feeling that way of like I'm not living up to my own expectations or others' expectations, like being able to look like you achieved this much in this amount of time, and it's not even this amount of time, just look at what you've achieved.
Right.
You have that hard copy right in front of you, and it helps a lot.
I think it helps you keep track of gratitude to some degree. I mean,
Yep.
because I know for me, when I start losing gratitude, and it's when I start forgetting about all the shit I have and I've done right, and I only focus on the shit I haven't managed to get yet, or I'm not there yet, I start to become a miserable prick.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, so like I think gratitude's a big fucking thing, which
I think it's tough. Like for me personally, I know you can probably relate. Like it's a tough balance. You know what I mean? Like obviously, yes, I want to stay grateful and be reminded, but like at the same time, maybe it's just the kind of guy I am. Like I look at it as like, I don't know, like this is shit I should have been doing for a long time. So what the fuck should I be proud of? You know what I mean? Like I'm 38 years old.
I
Like,
think
this
that's
is
our
shit I
way of
should have.
minimizing shit.
You know what I mean?
though,
Yeah,
too, but-
that's what I'm saying.
But I
Like,
agree.
It's
I
a tough
feel-
balance, and it kind of like that mindset though, kind of like drives me to do better. You know what I mean? Like I haven't done
Okay.
shit yet. You know what I mean? So it's
If
for
you can
me,
keep it
it's-
in perspective,
Yeah.
like you can use it,
yeah,
or it can kill you.
or I can kill
Right.
right.
You kind of walk that fucking line.
That's what I mean. Like it's kind of like it's a tough balance, a fine line, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Because it's like I don't want to get too much of like, oh, I haven't done shit and become negative about it. But if you can say like, you know, hey, I'm grateful I did do a lot of good shit, but really I haven't done shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I don't know if that makes any sense to you.
No, it does.
But-
Like to push yourself forward, like it perfectly ties into the topic of being content, but you want more.
Right, exactly. Like I'm not complacent, I'm not content. Like I know, I do realize that, and maybe to your guys' and your point too, is like maybe I don't take time enough to kind of be proud of, you know, time, because people tell me all the time, battery dying, is that okay?
Shit. Hopefully we'll be done in time.
You know what I mean? Like people tell me all the time, like, oh yeah, you know, we're proud of you. If I haven't told you lately, we're proud of you. You're
Yeah.
doing awesome, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate hearing it. But to me, I'm like, for what? For doing something I should have done a long time
What I think
ago.
what we lose track of is we're doing more than a lot of average people do at this point. Like it just gets to that, man, and like.
But then you gotta realize, like, dude, like it is a tough thing to do just to even to have any kind of recovery, to stop drinking, to stop shooting heroin and smoking crack, or shooting coke, or whatever.
Shooting everything.
Shooting everything. whatever you do, whatever
Yeah.
the fuck your choice is. It's a very difficult thing to do. That's why there's, you know, a pretty small community of people in recovery that have stayed in recovery. You know what I mean? Because it's a hard thing to do, and addiction's a motherfucker. So I think there's a lot of value in what you just said. Like, man, like realize what you've done. I think I can, you know, learn from that, because sometimes I kind of minimize, like you just said, like,
Yeah.
you know,
I
like, oh,
definitely
you should have done this shit a long time ago. You really don't have shit to be proud of. Like, these are the things that I like tell myself, you know.
Keep
But
a
it is-
balance with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll be
yeah,
okay.
it is a fine line, like you said, though, and kind of a tough balance for me personally.
It is for me. I just did this because like yesterday a couple things happened and it wasn't terrible, but it just made me realize like I've come a long way. I've been doing good at maintaining where I'm at, but I said to think, I'm like, okay, well, am I just gonna stay here and not move? Or am I gonna start putting more into the things where I feel like I could? And I hadn't thought about that in a while. Well, I sat down last night with my notebook and wrote down my priorities, which, you know, there's a lot of them because I'm doing a lot of shit, but the shit that really matters, and I took each one of them and just wrote, how could I do this a little bit better? Even if it's just some small shit. I mean, it was like, you know, the gyms, work, this thing we're doing right here, the groups, you know, my family, all that. And like, there was something everywhere where I could like take it up a little bit.
Do a little better.
So now that I'm aware that I've kind of just been treading water, which, you know, not going the wrong way, but I'm not like really pushing into the growth either. I am, but not like I could. So I don't know, I became aware of it, I put it down, but I think that's, you know, like I am happy, I'm content with a lot of the things I've done now, I realize, but like, I'm not completely satisfied with what I do everywhere I go, because I could do a little bit better, I realize. So now I can fucking do that. You know, like, it's another Ed Milet thing, turning up the thermostat.
Yeah.
I wanted to pump it up 5 degrees, and then when I get there, I can maintain that for a while, and then I'll do the same shit again, and like, all right, where could I be a little bit better? And little by little, your thermostat goes up.
I was just listening to his episode on like, how do you break through the walls, and it was one more, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So pretty much everything.
That's kind of what I did.
Like, hey, I can do a little more here. I can do a little more here.
I mean, I took a lot out of that book. That was a great book.
That was a great book. But yeah, man, I think that's why I like doing this shit with people in different places and different perspectives, you know, because like I said beforehand, I don't really know you at all, man, but you just help me realize something about myself just by sitting here talking with you, you know what I mean? Like,
we all have something to give to each other if we are open enough to the opportunities, you know?
yeah.
Right, like we all have different, as common as we all are, and in what we've done in our past, like we all have this unique individuality and insight that we can bring to one another's perspectives on where they're at, where we are at, and it's like, if we're not constantly trying to take in stuff from other people, our view of where we're going can just be set in stone, and I want mine to be a little bit more fluid.
Yeah.
So that I can have options and I can take pieces from guys that have successes and unfortunately, you know, their failures and be like, okay, don't do that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And that's one of the biggest things I love about being in recovery, especially around here, is that we have just this community of guys always trying to help out one another.
Yeah.
Because that's what we should do. Like, if we're being that selfish, not being able to help anybody else out, I think we're doing it a little bit wrong.
I think it reinforces like the right shit we're doing too, and we're showing others or teaching others how to do it too.
Sure.
You know, it reinforces in you like the good habits you're building. I mean, I don't know, all three of us do a lot in the community here.
Yeah.
You know, and outside here, with the jail, you know, with you and the groups we do, you know, the fact that you work there and you're helping guys all day with all kinds of shit. Like, but I think that helps you. I know it helps you stay in recovery.
Oh, absolutely.
Without a doubt. And I think it helps everybody personally. You're helping other people, you're helping yourself.
Yep.
It's like a win-win. And you know, I know like some people are like, oh, it's selfish. You just want, oh, no, I don't want to just help me, but it helps me too.
Yeah.
So fuck me, I guess, if that's a bad thing, but.
No.
I mean, that's, you know, obviously the goal of me doing the things I do is to help other people, but I know damn well it's good for me and it helps me.
Yeah.
And I know if I stop doing it, like we talked about last night, like it probably wouldn't be a good thing for me if I stopped doing all these things.
And I enjoy doing it.
I
Like,
do too.
fuck,
That's the
actually,
thing.
the things I look forward to is this,
Yeah.
doing group with you, like,
Yeah.
when I come here and do it with Brooke when he's here, like,
Yeah.
this shit's fun, man. I enjoy it.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like
for
literally
sure. Yeah.
highlights of my week kind of shit.
Especially
So,
like last night, the conversation and the
interaction.
the interaction with all the guys was fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome. You know? So,
Excellent.
anyway, any closing thoughts from you, Josh, on this topic or anything at all, man? It was awesome fucking talking to you, bro.
No, I think that's it for me, but thank you very much for having me on today.
thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thanks for
taking
coming.
time out of your Saturday.
Yeah, dude. No problem.
Well, I guess, you know, we'll wrap it up with that. I'll just say, we always say, if you help somebody with this, please share it. You know, comment, let us know what you want to hear about or how we're doing, if we suck, if we're doing good, like whatever, don't care. Like, feedback is good, and I'd love to read any of it and you know, pay it forward. That's what we're all trying to do, make the world a little better place. That's what everything we're doing here is about. So, and never fucking quit.
Absolutely. Fucking.
And you know, reiterate, you can be content with where you're at, but this being dissatisfied where you're not quite where you want to be yet, I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll see you next week. We got another guy from the community coming in next Saturday morning, and we'll talk about something. All right, everybody, take care.